My sister tried to trick me into signing away Mom's house for her $50,000 wedding. But when I played the recording at her engagement party, everything she built fell apart in front of everyone. My name is Judith. I am 38. And for most of my life I have played the role of a mother to my younger sister Emma. She is 8 years younger than me, and from the time she was small, I was the one who looked after her. When she fell down and hurt herself, she ran straight into my arms. When she had bad dreams, she climbed into my bed for comfort. Whenever she was on stage for a school play, I sat in the front row, cheering louder than anyone else. I carried her on my shoulders at fairs, bought her cotton candy when she dropped hers, and stayed awake all night when she was sick. I taught her to ride a bike, helped her with her schoolwork, and even protected her from boys who did not deserve her. Being her big sister wasn't just a responsibility, it became a huge part of who I was. 6 months ago, our mother passed away after fighting cancer for a long time. Those final weeks were very hard. I took time away from work to be with her, making sure she took her medicine, holding her hand when she was afraid, and sitting by her side until the very end. Emma came to visit only a few times during those months. She always said she was busy with her job, her boyfriend, or some event she could not Mississippi. When Mom finally passed, she left her house to me. It wasn't a big fancy house, just a modest 3-bedroom home in a quiet neighborhood, but to me it was filled with memories. It smelled of Mom's lavender perfume, her coffee mug was still in the sink, and her reading glasses still sat next to a half-finished crossword puzzle. It wasn't just a house. It was a piece of her that I was not ready to let go of. Only 2 weeks after the funeral, Emma called me for lunch. She walked in looking perfect, as always, with her fiancé Marcus beside her. Marcus was the type who smiled too wide and shook hands too hard, a man who used charm like a weapon. Emma sat across from me and said calmly, "We need to talk about Mom's house." I already knew what was coming, but I let her continue. She explained that she and Marcus were planning a wedding, and the venue they wanted would cost around $50,000. She spoke as if it was the most normal thing in the world. I told her gently, "That's a lot of money." She leaned closer, using that sweet voice she always used when she wanted something from me. "We need you to sell Mom's house and split the money. It's only fair, we're both her daughters." Her words stung. Fair? I was the one who had taken care of Mom day and night while Emma lived her carefree life. I was the one paying off bills, losing sleep, carrying the burden alone. And now she wanted half of the only thing Mom left me. I tried to stay calm. I told her, "I can give you $10,000 as a wedding gift. That's all I can do without selling the house." Marcus immediately jumped in. "10,000? That's nothing compared to what the house is worth. Be reasonable, Judith." The way he spoke to me made my chest tighten. It was clear to me they didn't see me as family. They saw me as a bank account. Emma's face changed for a moment, her sweet smile dropping as she whispered, "Some sister you are." That night I sat alone in Mom's living room, surrounded by memories. The marks on the doorframe where Mom measured our heights every birthday were still there. Emma's lines always below mine, written in Mom's careful handwriting. I thought about the little girl who used to beg me for bedtime stories, the one who laughed when I changed my voice for the characters. And I realized that girl was gone. In her place was a woman filled with greed, who measured love by money. I felt like I had lost both my mother and my sister at the same time. A week later, Emma called me again. This time, her voice was softer. She said she wanted to celebrate my birthday with a family dinner at a nice Italian restaurant. I wanted to believe she was sincere, that maybe she regretted the way she had spoken. My husband Jim was suspicious. He warned me, "Emma doesn't do anything without a reason." I tried to ignore him, but deep inside I felt the same worry. When we arrived at the restaurant, I noticed 3 men in suits sitting near our table. They had briefcases but no food, and they kept glancing at us. Emma and Marcus were all smiles, talking casually through appetizers, but I could feel something heavy beneath the surface. Then Marcus pulled out a manila envelope and pushed it toward me. "We had our lawyer draw up some paperwork," he said with a smile that made my stomach turn. Inside the envelope was a document that would sign over Mom's house and assets to them. I whispered, "This isn't what you said. You said this was a birthday dinner." Emma's voice turned sharp. "It is. And this is your birthday present. The chance to do the right thing." That was when Jim quietly placed a small digital recorder on the table. The red light blinked. Marcus demanded to know what it was. Jim answered calmly, "Insurance. Because what you're doing is called coercion." The change was immediate. Emma went pale, Marcus's jaw tightened, and the lawyers at the nearby table started gathering their things quickly. Emma tried to say recording was illegal, but Jim reminded her this was a one-party consent state. I watched as Emma's mask completely fell away. The sweet sister she pretended to be on the phone was gone. What was left was someone I could barely recognize. Someone who tried to trick me, pressure me, and steal from me. We left without signing anything, and I knew that a line had been crossed. 2 weeks later, Jim and I were driving past the local community center when I noticed the parking lot filled with cars and string lights glowing from the windows. It took me only a moment to realize what it was. Emma's engagement party. I hadn't been invited, of course. I turned to Jim and said, "Pull over." He looked at me in surprise. "Judith, what are you doing?" I took a deep breath and replied, "Something I should have done a long time ago." I stepped out of the car with the digital recorder tucked safely in my purse, my heart pounding, but my mind clearer than ever. Inside, the party looked like something out of a magazine. Fairy lights hung from the ceiling, tables were covered in elegant white cloths, and expensive catering lined the walls. Emma stood in the center wearing a flowing white dress, smiling as she accepted compliments from family and friends. Marcus stood at her side, playing the role of the perfect fiancé. The atmosphere was warm and celebratory, just as Emma always dreamed. A life funded by someone else's sacrifices. As the toasts began, guests clinked their glasses and shared heartfelt stories. Relatives spoke about what a beautiful couple Emma and Marcus made. Friends talked about their so-called love story. And in that moment, I felt a fire inside me. I could not stand by silently any longer. When the room grew quiet after another toast, I stood up. My voice was steady as I said, "I wasn't planning to speak tonight, but I cannot let this celebration continue without telling the truth." The room fell silent. Emma's smile froze on her face, and Marcus straightened, his eyes narrowing. I took a step forward and continued, 2 weeks ago, I was invited to what I believed was a birthday dinner. Instead, I was ambushed by lawyers and pressured to sign away my mother's house. My own sister tried to steal from me to pay for this very party. Gasps spread across the room. Someone dropped a glass, the sound shattering the silence. Emma's face turned from pale to red, her eyes darting around as if searching for an escape. I reached into my purse and pulled out the recorder. Without saying another word, I pressed play. Emma's voice filled the room, sharp and cold. "Just sign the papers, Judith. Split the money. It's only fair." Then came Marcus's voice, even harder. 10,000 is nothing. Don't be selfish." The recording lasted less than a minute, but every word landed like a blow. When it ended, the room was so quiet that I could hear the sound of my own breathing. I looked around at the faces of friends and relatives who had believed Emma's perfect act for so long. I saw the doubt, the disappointment, and the realization that the couple before them was not what they pretended to be. "This ends tonight," I said firmly, placing the recorder on the gift table. "No more manipulation. No more using family as a source of money. No more lies." Emma looked like a cornered animal, her eyes wide with panic. Marcus stood beside her, his smile gone, his face dark with rage and embarrassment. I didn't wait for anyone's response. I simply walked out of the room with my head held high, leaving behind the sounds of shocked whispers and awkward silence. The aftermath was swift. By the next morning, nearly half of the wedding guests had canceled their attendance. Marcus's parents, who had promised to help fund the wedding, withdrew their support completely. Friends who once sang praises of Emma now questioned everything they knew about her. Within days, The engagement party that was supposed to cement her reputation turned into the event that destroyed it. 3 days later, my phone rang. It was Emma, crying so hard I could barely understand her. She begged me to fix it, to tell everyone that the recording was fake. But I had no more strength left to carry her mistakes or clean up the mess she created. For years, I had sacrificed my peace for her, always putting her first. This time, I chose myself. I told her simply, "Emma, I'm done," and I hang up. The wedding was postponed indefinitely, and soon after, the relationship between Emma and Marcus fell apart completely. It turned out Marcus had never been interested in her alone. He wanted the comfort of a life built on Mom's house and inheritance. Without that, he walked away. As for me, I stayed in Mom's house. I transformed her sewing room into a cozy home office, and her garden became a place of healing where I could sit and remember the good times. The house still carries her scent of lavender, and sometimes I find her belongings tucked away like gentle reminders of her love. But now the home feels alive again, not like a museum I was guarding. Looking back, I realize I spent so much of my life trying to be the perfect big sister that I forgot to protect myself. Sometimes the people closest to us can hurt us the deepest because they know exactly how to use our love against us. But there comes a time when you have to decide whether to keep allowing it or to finally stand up for yourself. That night at the engagement party, I chose to stand up. And though it broke my heart to accept who my sister truly was, it freed me to finally live without being treated like an endless source of money. So if you've ever been betrayed by family, remember this. Just because someone shares your blood does not mean they get to use you like a doormat. Setting boundaries isn't cruel. Sometimes, it's the most loving thing you can do for yourself.